Hello everyone, I hope you have had a great day and were successful trading today. If you traded today, as always, I'm going to be going over the S&P 500 E-mini futures for Thursday, May 29th. Interesting day today, great day to learn from. Um, all of my hypotheses for trades that I made today were correct. I just had some issues with having the greatest entry point and then also having a little bit of too good of risk management, which I never thought I'd say. But I'm going to try to quickly, briefly go over this. Before I get going, as always, huge shout out to Al Brooks. His course will be down below. If you want to learn from the best, I would suggest checking that out. And a huge shout out to Troy H., my teacher. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be trading this strategy at all. Before we get started, as you guys know, purple line's previous day high, purple line down here, previous day low. This green line is a line of support from the pre-market low. Thought I was going to try to test that at some point. And then I'll get into these blue lines when I get going on the day. I usually don't trade the first 30 minutes of the day, but there's certain characteristics that make me bend that rule. And as you can see, you get a very big four bar microchannel down that's over 27 points with a nice micro gap and multiple tick gaps. So I had a very strong hypothesis. I think it was about 85% with all those characteristics that this was going to get a second leg down. It may have even been higher than that. 5 had a really, really deep pullback from using Fibonacci. You guys can see it is like perfectly to that 55% level. So I usually, as you guys know, I try really, really hard not to enter in a position when I'm losing. I only try to enter in more contracts when I'm winning. But I had a really bad enter on 5, just premature. So I had to enter again. It was the only way that this trade made sense after it had the pullback. Me and my trading partner both agreed that the best place actually to enter was just to have some patience, wait for the pullback, and then you got confirmation of a second leg on 6, and then you could have entered in the close of 6, and it would have been able to rip down for over 23 points. Like I said, it didn't really quite work out. And because of my bad entry, I was trying to get out as quickly as possible as well. And I thought maybe this EMA would be a line of resistance. So as you can see, it's a good leg down, a deep pullback, a second leg. I took profits of 10 points on 8, right above the EMA, because I wasn't sure how I was going to respect the EMA. And of course, it ended up ripping a lot lower, and I could have probably made 20 points, but no big deal. 9 had a very good pullback, and with how, just very, very significant both these first two legs were over 27 and then 30 points down, I thought that it would probably get somewhat of a semi-symmetrical leg down of, about 5 to 10 points. And looking back, I should have been less greedy. I kind of had the thought that I was going to get 10 points, and if I would have been less greedy, should have just taken 5 points. But it pulled back, and I entered in for this third leg trade, which is a little bit risky. And once again, as you guys can see, I got a terrible entry. If I would have just waited and waited for it to kind of test the EMA again and entered the close of this pullback of 9, I could have actually made the 10 points that I hypothesized. But I didn't get the best entry. I was up 5 points, thought it was going to go lower, maybe try the previous day, or maybe try to test the previous day low or the pre-market low. But as you guys can see, it reversed and I got out break even on 12. It then goes into a trading range, kind of bouncing up and down through the EMA. There's an interesting trade in here that I just saw. 25 breaks down through the EMA very strong with a big micro gap over 18 points at its peak down. Then you can see through 26 through 27, they keep on trying to work their way back to the EMA and keep on failing. So I think you could see after 26, this is kind of like a 2-bar good push down, trying to get back to the EMA, keeps on failing. And kind of on any of these pushbacks, you could have sold the close, sat through a tough pullback. I probably wouldn't have done that. But you could have sold the close of a lot of these. Selling the close of 29 probably would have been the best option, and then could have caught the second leg down. So it definitely had the hypothesized thought I kind of had originally in the day that I was going to try to test the previous day low or pre-market low, and of course it ended up doing that. Just not part of my system, so I didn't want to get in on that. Then one of the greatest trades of the day, and that ended up being a bit of a bummer, but a good learning moment, and my hypothesis was still correct, was this next trade. So after you get kind of the overall momentum of the day was bearish, but you get a double bottom here, bouncing off the previous day low and pre-market low, and a strong reverse rip up. Sorry about that. And yes, 31 isn't the greatest bar to start with. It's very doji, but like I said, it's a double bottom. So there's definitely a lot of potential for this to get a strong reversal. And then I think that just got even more confirmed on 33 with that massive micro gap. With this including too, at its peak, it's about 20 points. Had a hard time breaking through the EMA, but I was watching it. You kind of get a pullback failure on 35. 36, I thought, the market tests in 3, so it tests the EMA on 34, tests it on 35, tests it on 36, and then gets the breakthrough just like hypothesized on 37. So I bought the close of 36, scaled in more. I just put in a buy order to scale in at the EMA because I thought it was going to push back eventually. I kind of thought it was going to push back more on 38 or 39, but it ended up kind of pushing back. Maybe I set the limit order a little too soon, but no worries. I got in with a second contract on 37. So now it gets one pullback, a second push up. It is now above the EMA. 40 tries to fight back, pushes a little bit below the EMA, but I had a very strong hypothesis that it was going to try to fill this micro gap from earlier in the day on 25. As you guys can see, I have it marked out right here with this blue line. That was where my take profit was. And I was talking to my trading partner about this. I think when you scale in and you're in with multiple contracts on a pretty big trade, you have to kind of have a wider stop loss. I was still trying to have really, really good risk management because even though I was trying to make about 20 to, I think it was actually, if this would have worked out, I would have made 25 points or around 30 points, and I was still had a stop loss of only 5 points. So that's a very, very good risk to reward ratio. And with two, kind of with the volatility of the day and with having two contracts, 5 points can get hit really, really quick. So if I would have had a stop loss of around 8 to 10, which is what I'm going to work on, and that's going to be kind of my go-to for scaling in now, I would have been able to hit my full take profit as I hypothesized. But as you guys can see on 41, literally at the lowest this tick possibly got, if it was one tick higher, it would have barely missed my stop loss. But I lost, I think it was only 1 point, maybe 2 points there. So I had a very short stop loss because I just had hypothesized that this was just going to have a really nice rip up after this, and then ends up getting one, pullback two, pullback three, hitting my full take profit. I think at this point of the day, I probably should have stopped trading. If this trade would have ended up working out, I would have been up 35, 40 points on the day, so I would have already been done. But I think the fact that it didn't work out, my mental discipline probably strained a little bit, and I was trying to get back into the market, try to find things that maybe weren't there the rest of the day, which I'll get into. And then reverses with kind of this trading range, bear channel down. It quickly on 48 breaks below the EMA. Then I was watching this and I noticed 48 with a good bar break below the EMA, and then 49 through 51 keeps on trying to break back through the EMA, but always closes below. So I kind of thought maybe that this bar on 33 was probably going to have to get this micro gap filled at some point. Definitely with the overall trend of the day too being bearish. This kind of the bears got a rally, and I thought maybe, or the bulls got a rally, and I thought maybe the bears were going to try to take back over like they'd been doing the whole entire day. The market regime was very bearish. So when I saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars closing below the EMA. 52 was a huge indicator. 52 itself is over 6 points down, and this whole entire thing was over 10 points down. So I thought, I could scale in for a quick 5 to 10 points. My take profit was actually at the bottom of this micro gap. I thought the market was going to try to fill that. So I scaled in on 53, and I didn't get the best entry point. Like I've been talking about, I need to work on my entry points. I need to back test them a little bit more. I've been just absolutely failing on the greatest entry points, and I've been doing just fine. But if I have better entry points, I can take a lot more points and leave less points on the table. So if I would have had a better entry point, as you can see, it was down here. Even if I would have just gotten the close of this bar and been a little bit more patient, I would have been able to make a good 5 points down. But my take profit was down here. So I ended up just getting out break even on 55. It kind of went against the hypothesis I had. I thought this was a pullback failure. I thought this was confirmation of a second leg on 54. I thought it was going to go a little bit lower, but I needed just a little bit more of a pullback. So it gets one leg, pullback two, and then a deep pullback. And I thought about selling this again, but at this point, I kind of felt like I was maybe revenge trading from this missed opportunity earlier. And it ended up doing what I hypothesized, and it broke through, covering this micro gap, filling this micro gap. At this point, as I've talked about just real quick, this channel breaks out of the channel with 75% of the time. Within 5 bars, it will re-enter the channel. So within 1, 2, and then on the third bar, it re-entered the channel. And then you kind of get another kind of close to a double bottom, but you can see kind of a line of resistance here at this micro gap, quickly bounces back up. You get a great trend reversal with a 4-leg micro channel. 61 is a huge rip up with a great micro gap over 8 points, and then 62 breaks through the EMA with a great strong close to the upward side. So you have 3-leg trend reversal up. And yes, this is against the market regime, and I took that into consideration, but I thought this had a good chance of getting a second leg up, maybe trying to test this micro gap that I hypothesized from earlier for it to touch. So I entered in on I entered in like right at the close of 63, because I thought this was tried to pull back to the EMA and it failed. So I entered around the close of 63, but it ended up just moving it to 64. And then when 64 actually ended a little bearish, I decided to enter in another contract there to scale in because I really thought that this was going to get a second push up. And it eventually does, just in a very complicated way. But even though with a wider stop loss, it has a very huge reversal bar over 11 points on 66. So my stop loss got killed. I got stop lossed out of it. And then it ends up kind of, getting back below the EMA, trying to push, and it eventually kind of gets a complicated 1, complicated pullback 2, complicated pullback 3, up to where I hypothesized kind of towards the end of the day. So yeah, that was me quickly going over today and the trades that I took. And like I was saying, my hypotheses all worked out very, very well. I just didn't have the best entries, and then actually had too good of risk management, so I hit my stop losses quite a bit. I ended up only losing 1 point on the day, so I'm still having a great week. And I just wanted to say real quick, guys, anybody that talks to you about trading and says that it's just a green elevator all the way up to being very, very like being profitable every single day, you can look them in the face and laugh and tell them the truth that they're lying, because the road to becoming a very successful trader is not an elevator, it's a staircase. And there you might have days where you have three stairs up of profitability, and then you have a stair down where you don't have the best day. Trading, the best traders, the most profitable traders in the world still have losses. They have losing weeks, they have losing months, and they definitely have losing days. And something I want to just say real quick is I never think of them as losing days. I always think of them as learning days. So instead of getting down on yourself and having a bad mindset and thinking, okay, this is a losing day, this is terrible, um, just go ahead and just be like, hey, this is a learning day. What can I look at? What can I see in the charts? What did I do well? What did I do wrong? How can I become a better trader through this? Um, For me, I had all the right hypotheses today. I just didn't have the best risk management. Um, I need a little bit wider stop losses. I need to work on having wider stop losses when I scale in, and I just need to work on better entry points. But it's easy fixes, and I'm still doing very well. So think of them as not losing days, as learning days, and always try to learn. Never get down on yourself. Everybody loses sometimes, and it's just how you respond to that. Um, yeah, but with that being said, that was my kind of quickly going over today. I didn't really touch on the 15-minute chart, but you guys can look at that yourselves. There's some good pushes, some good movement in the two-leg system that I talk about. But I'm going to wrap this video up. I feel like I've already been going longer than I expected. But Albrecht's trading course will be down below. Shout out Troy H. Shout out my trading partner. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'll be back with another video tomorrow. Um, and yeah, keep your head up if you had a losing day today, and keep your head up if you had a winning day today. But yeah, have a great rest of your day.